3 days before my father died, he left me a voice message. I didn't listen to it. For 7 years, I told myself I forgot. I told myself I was busy. I told myself I would do it later, when I was ready, when the moment felt right. But the truth? I was afraid. Afraid of hearing his voice again. Afraid of what he might say. Afraid of what I might feel. So the message stayed there, unheard, waiting. Until one rainy Tuesday night in November, 7 years later, I was looking for an old photo on my phone and my finger slipped, and I accidentally pressed play. What I heard changed everything. This is that story. My name is Daniel. I'm 36 years old. I live alone in a small apartment in the city. I work in an office where nobody really talks to each other. I eat lunch at my desk. I go home. I watch something on my phone until I fall asleep. I'm not telling you this to make you feel sorry for me. I'm telling you because I want you to understand who I was before that night. I was someone who had become very good at being alone, not lonely. Or at least, that's what I told myself. Just alone, contained, self-sufficient. The kind of person who doesn't need much and doesn't ask for much and quietly closes every door before the draft can get in. My father was the opposite. My father, Eduardo, was one of those people who filled a room without trying. Not loud, he wasn't a loud man, but present, completely, entirely present. When he looked at you, you felt like the only person in the world worth looking at. When he laughed, you laughed, even if you hadn't heard the joke. He died on a Tuesday in March, 7 years ago. His heart. It had been getting weaker for a long time. Years of small warnings that we all pretended weren't warnings. And then one day, it stopped being able to keep up. I was there at the end. I want to make that clear. I was there. But the days before, Taro, those last 3 days in the hospital, I wasn't there as much as I should have been. I had work. I had responsibilities. I had 100 small justifications that felt very large at the time and feel very small now. I visited. Just not enough. I called. Just not enough. And on one of those days, around the third day before he died, when I was at work pretending to concentrate on a spreadsheet, my phone showed a notification, one voice message from Dad. I looked at it, I thought, I'll listen later. I'm in the middle of something. Later became that evening. That evening became the weekend. The weekend became the week he died. And after he died, after everything, I just couldn't press play, because pressing play meant hearing him alive again, and then the message would end, and he would be gone again. And I didn't know if I could survive that twice, so I didn't. I transferred the message when I changed phones. Twice, actually. I changed phones twice in 7 years, and both times I made sure the message came with me. I carried it everywhere. I just never opened it. Until that Tuesday night in November, until the rain on the window and the wrong finger and the screen lighting up and his voice coming through the speaker before I had time to stop it. Daniel. Just my name. The way only he said it, I dropped the phone. I picked the phone up off the floor. The message had paused. I had somehow hit the screen when I dropped it. I sat on the edge of my bed. My heart was doing something strange. Not fast exactly, just very loud, like it wanted me to pay attention. I stared at the screen. 1 minute and 47 seconds, that's how long the message was. 1 minute and 47 seconds of my father's voice that I had been carrying for 7 years without listening to. I want to tell you something honest. In those 7 years, I had imagined that message many times. Late at night, when you can't sleep and your mind goes to the places it avoids during the day, I would think about it. I would wonder. Sometimes I imagined it was simple, just, Daniel, it's Dad. Call me when you can. Love you. Sometimes I imagined it was something harder, something I'd done wrong, something unresolved between us, and sometimes, in the worst moments, the 3 a.m. moments, I imagined he was saying goodbye, that somehow he knew, that the message was his way of closing things properly. Those were the nights I really couldn't sleep, and so I had kept the message sealed, like a letter I wasn't brave enough to open. As long as I didn't listen, I could choose which version to believe. I could choose the easy one, the simple one. But now, his voice was in the room. Just that one word, Daniel. And it had already undone something in me. I made a decision. I sat up straight. I put the phone on the bed in front of me. I turned up the volume, and I pressed play from the beginning. Daniel. A pause. I know you're at work. I know you're busy. You're always busy. A small sound. Something between a sigh and a smile. That was so completely him. I'm calling from the hospital phone. They let me use it for a few minutes. Your mother is downstairs getting coffee, so I have a little time. There are some things I want to say, things I should have said before. I've been thinking a lot being here. You know how it is when you have too much time and not enough to do with it. You start to think about what you've left unsaid. He paused. I stopped breathing. I want to tell you something I've never told you, about my life before you were born, about something I did, something I'm ashamed of, and why I think you need to hear it. And then the message cut out. Not the end. I could see there were still 40 more seconds on the timer. A technical glitch. A pause in the recording. Just a few seconds of silence before his voice came back. But in those few seconds, I realized I was gripping the phone so hard my knuckles had gone white. I had waited 7 years, and now I had to wait a few more seconds. That felt exactly right somehow. His voice came back. When I was 26 years old, I left Argentina. You know that part. You've always known that part. What you don't know is why. I had grown up with the story of my father leaving Argentina. It was family legend. The young man with a bag and a dream, arriving in a new country with almost nothing, building a life through hard work and determination. It was a good story. A proud story. I had told it myself many times. I always told you I left for opportunity, for a better life. And that was true. It was part of the truth. But the first reason, the real first reason, another pause, longer this time. There was a man named Ernesto. I had never heard that name in my life. Ernesto was my best friend from childhood. Since we were 7 years old, we were inseparable. The kind of friendship where you don't have to explain yourself, where the other person just knows. We had a business together when we were young, nothing big, buying and selling the way young men do when they have more energy than money. And I made a decision about that business without telling him, a significant decision, one that affected both of us. I thought I was doing the right thing. I thought I knew better. I was 25, and I thought I knew a lot. A sound that was definitely a small, sad laugh. He found out. And he was right to be angry. I had taken something from him. Not money, but something more important. The right to decide for himself. I had decided for him because I thought I knew better. And that's not friendship. That's something else. We fought badly, the kind of fight where you say things you can't take back. And instead of going back, instead of being brave enough to say I was wrong, I left. I told everyone it was for opportunity. I let them believe the good story. But I left because I was ashamed, and I didn't know how to face him. The rain outside my window was heavier now. I got up and sat on the floor. I don't know why. I just needed to be lower somehow, closer to the ground. My father, my steady, quiet, reliable father, had run from something, had carried shame across an ocean and built a whole life on top of it, and never told anyone. Not my mother, not my brother, not me. I want you to understand something, Daniel, he said. The shame wasn't the mistake. The mistake was the decision I made. The shame came after. But then I let the shame make another decision for me. I ran instead of facing it. And that second decision, the running, that cost me more than the first one. It cost me 50 years of friendship. The message wasn't over, but I needed a moment. I put the phone down on the floor next to me. Just for a minute, just to breathe. Outside, a car passed slowly through the wet street. My father had a best friend I never knew existed. My father had run from something, just like I had been running from this message for 7 years. I picked the phone back up. I found Ernesto, my father said. My head came up. Last year, online, your mother helped me. She's better with those things than I am. He's still in Cordoba. He has a family, grandchildren. He looks old. That sound again. The small, almost laugh. We both look old. I wrote him a letter. A real one. Paper and envelope the way we used to. I told him everything I just told you. That I was wrong. That I was ashamed. That running was a coward's choice. That I had missed him for 50 years even when I was pretending not to. And he wrote back. My father's voice changed then, just slightly. Something in it softened, or maybe opened is the better word, like a window after a long winter. He said he forgave me. He said he had been waiting a long time for that letter, that he had missed me too, that he thought of me often, more than I would believe. He said friendship like ours doesn't just disappear, it waits. I was crying. I'm not embarrassed to tell you that. I was sitting on the floor of my apartment at 11 o'clock at night in the rain, and I was crying, and it felt like the most honest thing I had done in years. I'm telling you this, my father said, because I made 2 mistakes in my life that I regret. The first was the decision I made about the business. I can't go back and change that. The second was the running. The years of silence. The shame I let become a wall. That one I could have changed. At any point in 50 years, I could have written that letter, and I didn't. Don't be like that, Daniel. Don't let the hard things sit until it becomes impossible. I know about you and Marco. I went very still. Marco, my brother. We hadn't spoken in almost a year, not a fight, nothing dramatic. Just a slow pulling apart, a comment that went wrong, then fewer calls, then nothing much at all. The specific kind of distance that grows when nobody decides to stop it. Your mother worries. She tells me things. Don't be angry with her. You and your brother are the same person in different bodies. That's why you clash. You're both convinced you're right. You're both waiting for the other one to move first. I know that feeling. It's cold, Daniel. Being right is very cold. In winter, it doesn't keep you warm. 20 seconds left on the message. I watched the timer. I love you. I should say that more. I'm saying it now. Take care of your mother. Take care of your brother. And Daniel, the longest pause of the whole message. I'm not afraid. I want you to know that. Whatever comes next, I'm not afraid. I just wanted you to hear my voice one more time. The message ended. I sat on the floor for a long time. Long enough for the rain to get quieter. Long enough for the street outside to go completely still. Long enough to replay certain phrases. Not the whole message, just pieces of it. over and over in my mind. Friendship like ours doesn't just disappear. It waits. Being right is cold. I just wanted you to hear my voice one more time. At some point, I realized I was holding my phone like it was something fragile. I looked at the time, 11:47 p.m. Too late to call anyone. I looked at Marco's name in my contacts. Too late. But I opened a message and I typed, "Hey, I know it's late. I found something today and I need to talk to you. Can we call this week? It's important." I sent it before I could overthink it. I put the phone down. I got into bed. I stared at the ceiling. At 11:53, my phone lit up. "Marco, I'm awake. Call me now if you want." I called. He picked up on the first ring. Daniel. Same name. Different voice. But something in the way he said it, careful, a little uncertain, reminded me of my father. "Hey," I said, and "Hey, what happened? Are you okay?" "I'm okay. I found something. I need to tell you something." I told him everything. The message, the 7 years, pressing play by accident, Argentina and Ernesto, and the letter and the forgiveness. I told him what our father said about us. When I got to the part about being right, being cold, Marco was quiet for a moment. Then he said, "That's so completely him." "I know. I can hear his voice saying that. Me too." We were both quiet. The comfortable kind of quiet. The kind that means you're still there, still listening, not going anywhere. "I'm sorry," Marco said, "about this past year. I know He stopped, tried again. "I'm sorry." "Me too," I said. "I mean it." "He would be so annoyed," Marco said, "that it took a 7-year-old voicemail to get us to do this." I laughed, genuinely. "He really would." We talked until almost 2 a.m. Not about the fight, not about who was right, about our father, the small memories, the specific ones, the way he'd burned toast every single morning and ate it anyway, the way he fell asleep during every movie but argued that he hadn't been sleeping, the way he always called on Sunday afternoons, always asked the same questions, always ended with "Take care of yourself, okay? Take care." And then carefully, gently, we talked about us. Not resolving everything, just beginning. Just saying, "I see what happened. I was part of it. I don't want it to." 3 weeks later, I wrote a letter to Ernesto. My mother had his address. She had kept his letter to my father, kept everything the way she always does. She cried a little when I told her what I was doing. "He would love this," she said, "so much." I wrote by hand. My handwriting was slow and careful, like a child concentrating. I told Ernesto who I was. I told him about the message, that I had found it after 7 years. I told him that his forgiveness had traveled further than he knew, that it had reached me here on a rainy Tuesday night, that it had moved me to call my brother, that it had changed something. "I thought you should know," I wrote. "What you gave my father didn't stay with him. It kept moving, like a stone dropped in still water." I didn't expect a fast reply, but a month later, a letter arrived. His handwriting was beautiful, clear and old-fashioned and deliberate. He wrote that receiving my letter had been one of the most unexpected gifts of his recent years. He wrote that he thought of my father often, that Eduardo, my father, had been the funniest person he had ever known, and the most stubborn and the most loyal. The best friendships, he wrote, survive the worst mistakes, because they have to, because something real is worth the work of saving it. At the bottom of the letter, there was a photograph. 2 boys, maybe 10 years old, standing in front of a house in bright sunlight, squinting into the camera, laughing at something. One of them was my father. I knew immediately. He looked exactly like Marco. I held that photograph for a long time. My father at 10, before any of it, before the mistake, before the shame, before the ocean between him and his best friend. Just a boy in the sun, happy. I have that photograph on my desk now, and I still have the voice message. I don't listen to it often, but sometimes when something good happens and I wish I could tell him, when I'm being stubborn about something and I need someone to bring me back, I press play. 1 minute and 47 seconds. Don't let the hard things sit until it becomes impossible. I'm not afraid. I just wanted you to hear my voice one more time. Marco and I have dinner most weeks now. My mother says we remind her of how we were when we were small, before we got busy, before we decided that being grown up meant being closed. I think my father would be pleased, not surprised. He always believed we would find our way back, just pleased. My father wasn't a perfect man. Nobody is. He made a mistake when he was young. He ran from it. He carried shame across an ocean and built a whole life without ever looking back. But in the end, he wrote the letter. In the end, he picked up a hospital phone and said the things he should have said sooner. In the end, he said, "I love you. I'm not afraid. That's enough, more than enough." Tonight, before you close your eyes, think of one person you've been meaning to reach out to. Not a perfect message, not a resolved conversation, just, "Hey, I was thinking of you," just that. My father waited 7 years for me to press play. Don't make the people you love wait that long. The phone is in your hand. If tonight's story stayed with you, if you felt something, then you're exactly where you belong. Every week, Amigo Lang brings you a new story. Human, emotional, in natural English that enters your mind without effort. Because when you feel something, your brain remembers everything. Subscribe so you don't miss the next one. And if this story reminded you of someone, share it with them tonight. Good night.